everyone. We are having so much fun here networking with everybody. You usually hear me from 3 to 5 p.m., but now you're going to hear me daily from noon to 1, and this is networking, and that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to go right in with my next guest. He's been on my other show in another hour before with me. Now I have him here. I have with me Paul Updike. And Paul, you are the CFE. You're the president of EFM Consulting. You are a certified fraud examiner. What is that?
A certified fraud examiner is someone who goes in and looks for fraud. Because I'm not a lawyer, I can't determine that there is fraud. I can't call it fraud, but I can usually find some discrepancies in the flow of the money that shows that, well, it's way out of line here.
Yeah,
and
where's
the
it
lawyers,
going?
Yeah, where's it going?
And then the lawyers get involved at that point.
Yes.
But you're there to protect them from having any fraud. Or does somebody usually call you before or after it happens, or when they think it might be? When are they calling you?
It's usually after.
And that's not a good idea, because then you've already gotten...
No, I can't do prevention if you've already been defrauded. Mm-hmm. Again, my name is Paul Updike. My company is EFM Consulting. My background includes 17 years of teaching financial classes and economic classes at the University of Phoenix, as well as getting in the trenches of companies with financial and economic problems. The Certified Fraud Examiner is a designation I love because forensic accounting is something I love to do.
Because it helps people.
It certainly can. And let me tell you what forensic accounting is. Typically, you look at every transaction. For instance, in a bank statement, there might be cash in, cash out. There might be special deposits, special transfers, ways monies comes in and out. But usually in forensic accounting, you prove every entry and you date every entry. And forensic accounting might be for 3 years, might be for a year, might be 6 months, but it's some period of time where every movement of cash is followed.
That's an important thing that almost everybody should be really doing,
yes.
But they couldn't do it on their own.
Most people can't, and in terms of the lawyers in a courtroom, you cannot use anybody but a certified fraud examiners or some sort of official statement of cash flows in and out for court records. I've run into documents that were produced by the victims that are approximately correct. But it's not helpful to a lawyer because it's biased. Mm-hmm. They've produced something that someone else took from them and they can show it, but that's not helpful. In a court, you have to have, in order to enter evidence in the court, you have to have someone who can prove that it's non-biased and is actually tied to a bank statement.
So let me ask you a couple things. I want to get some information about you out there. First of all, when you're working with a company, what kind of companies do you usually work with? Businesses?
Lots of small businesses. Right now I'm in the middle of two matters. One is a business, and they have a severe cash shortage, so they're wondering why. And the other is a trust that has been defrauded from, and one of the sisters is trying to, a sister is proving or trying to prove, it's in court already, that the brother fraudulently took money from the trust.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a business.
Oh, no.
Okay, so it could be something that within your own family. This now becomes even wider.
It's
actually.
That's why there's 85,000 forensic accountants or certified fraud examiners in the world. The conference in Austin that just took place last summer, there was 3,100 fraud examiners there, people from Africa, from Asia, from all over the world.
It's amazing. And you're one of them.
I'm one of them.
Sitting right here on my show. But getting the information out to people, this is what I love about the show. It's information. And so you're listening to this. Maybe you work with somebody and you say that, you know what, this they might need this. Maybe it's just somebody you listening right now is saying, you know, I should probably make sure that that's not going to happen to me. Maybe you're a personal person who knows, I think my brother did it to me. I'm telling you now, I'm going to call you. The number to call him direct, it's 480-577-6776. You could check him out either on LinkedIn or on his website. It's azcost.net. He does free consultations, and right now for the month of February, what he's offering for everyone is if you contact Paul, you're going to receive 25% discount on his regular prices. So for the month of February, he's going to offer that. You can call him 480-577-6776.
Thank you.
So when you are working with people and you find evidence, what do you create with that? What does it show usually?
Well, the evidence that I create with forensic accounting shows different things. For instance, one matter I worked with last year, the partner in a partnership had taken money that wasn't belonging to him, that was not in the partnership agreement, and then he told the partner that he'd put it all back in. And the partner said, "No, you haven't." And I was called in, and I found $161,000 that he still owed.
Man, that's awesome. I'm calling you for a lot of things. You get money for people.
Another matter I worked on was a client that was a CFO, and he was embezzling. But he took so much money out that by the previous November, the company was illiquid. And he took $12,500 of his own money. Well, it wasn't really his own money at that time. And he put it back in the company and didn't tell anyone, and then proceeded, after the company got over that rough spot, to embezzle another $60,000 before I was able to prove fraud. I was brought in, and within a week I proved fraud. He was fired. He later served time in jail.
He deserved that.
Yes.
Because not only did he do it once, because he put his hand in the cookie jar and he got away with it that one time.
Yeah.
He made it happen again for himself.
It was a 5-year fraud.
Wow, that's amazing. His phone number is 480-577-6776. His website is azcost.net. He does free consultations. And for anyone for the month of February who contacts him, you're getting 25% off his regular prices. And that, again, I want to make it clear for everybody. You do obviously help businesses, small businesses in general, but anyone who is having a situation where they think someone is taking money from them or you're owed it, give him a call. He might be able to help you.
I was involved a few years ago with a multi-million-dollar trust fund, and that was complex. It was in the courts already, but multi-million-dollar trust fund, and she was alleging that millions had been taken from her.
And was she right?
I think she was right. She still hasn't proven it in court. That's another issue that, thank goodness, doesn't involve me.
Well, you know what, though? You've mentioned it twice now. Again, you said that the people who within family issues, that it's not just small businesses, it's not big businesses, it's everywhere.
Yes.
Basically, it's everywhere.
Yes.
And that's really sad. And before we go to a break, I wanted to ask you this, and I know it's not on here, really quickly. How often does this happen?
Actually, it's been estimated now that 5% of all the financial transactions in America or in the world are fraudulent. In America, with a $20 trillion GNP, that means what? $1 trillion of financial transactions in America are fraudulent.
You know, and how do we protect ourselves? Basically, we need a lot more of you, right? Or we work for ourselves and we do things that we do nothing but we live by ourselves. We're hermits. That's the thing.
I want to address that.
Well, we're going to do. We can when we come back. We're going to let everyone call him direct. If you contact him, he's going to give you 25% off his normal prices. He does free consultations with everyone. Again, I'm almost floored because we never talked about the people just in their own homes that could be dealing with something in their own family trusts that might be happening where he can help. So it's almost anyone. And if that's, again, when I talk about networking on this show, if it's you, it's someone you know, that's what you heard here, you can tell them about it. That's what networking is. Hit the phone number to call him direct, it's 480-577-6776. He does free consultations. His website is azcost.net. Hang tight. We're going to be back in just a minute. We're going to learn more. So welcome back, everyone. That music was going on a little long. I didn't know when I should come in. So we are sitting here talking with Paul Updike, and he is a certified fraud examiner. And we've been talking. You said at the break that you love what you do. Tell us what your favorite thing about it is.
Fraud examination or forensic accounting is like a puzzle. No one knows the answer when they start, and I love puzzles. One of the things we're going to do this weekend, my son is coming over from California, and we bought a 1,000-piece puzzle, not a very easy one, and a jigsaw puzzle. We're going to open it when he gets here this Thursday night or Friday morning, and we'll have it all done by the time he leaves Sunday afternoon.
Wow, that's cool. I know you like that. I know that about you, and that's what you need when you're working with somebody, especially when you're dealing with something, when you have a problem within a business, and it's your business partner that's doing something, or your family member. That becomes now from the heart on your end, and it's an emotional thing, and you can't do it on your own. There's no way. And then, of course, when you are doing it, you're getting angrier and angrier, and you start yelling and fighting, right? And does that happen? But with you come in and you take care of business, and you find the missing piece.
We certainly try. One of the things that makes forensic accounting work is that the internal documents, including digital and analog documents, may or may not show you the whole picture. But if you can anchor the work that you're doing, the forensic accounting, to the external documents in the bank or a financial institution, for instance, then you can say, what doesn't look right? What doesn't fit? What doesn't somehow show that the fund that the bank shows there is wasn't occurring, or they have more cash over here than they should, or there's a hidden account that they're not telling you about, but the bank shows that the money went out. Why?
I wonder why.
You ask all these questions, and pretty soon, and that's what we're trained to do in the forensic accounting, pretty soon you say, there's a story here that doesn't jive with the story you're telling. What's going on?
Well, we also want to repeat again for anyone that might not have heard that it doesn't necessarily have to be a business, right? And so it could be something within a family trust or something that you're dealing with in that way too. The phone number to call him direct, it's 480-577-6776. You can check him out on LinkedIn as well. He does free consultations, and his website is azcost.net. And for the month of February, he's offering for anyone that calls him and talks to him a 25% discount off of his services, his rates. What do people learn? What is like the most that people learn? Not to what? Trust people?
I'm not sure. You have to trust, but like Ronald Reagan used to say, trust but verify. Mm-hmm. And that's what the forensic accountant does with doing forensic accounting, is verifies that what is being told, the story being told out there, is really what is happening. Mm-hmm. The people everywhere has heard of Ponzi schemes, and a man named Charles Ponzi started in 1920 a fraudulent investment scheme that ended up involving thousands of people, and he amassed $20 million before he was finally caught and put in jail. That was in 1920. You think people would learn? No, we don't learn. Madoff, Bernie Madoff, and most everyone's heard of his name, $18 billion.
Unfortunately, with money, people do some terrible things.
Yes.
It just is. It could be wonderful, but it can also be not very good as well. And it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, unfortunately. So when is the best time for them to call you? Even, let's say, let's talk about someone who does have a family trust. Do they call you before anything happens? I mean, when was the best time?
As soon as there's a trustee involved in the family trust, you want to think about whether there's the proper record keeping being kept, and if those records are kept, then it creates an audit trail, and someone needs to audit it. So the very first thing is auditing. Auditing has to happen.
Here's a good one. Let's say someone, whether it is their business or in a trust, has had something happen. How far is it until it's too late for you to be able to help them get there? Is there a certain amount of time?
The time that elapses has a lot to do with how much you can recover. But generally, fraud examiners are brought in even if the fraud has already happened,
right,
to add it all up.
Okay.
And so,
because then they got to go to court to get it.
Fraud examiners tend to add it all up, but if you can help in the prevention, to me, that's a lot better.
So, all right. So either way, though, they could call you either way is what I'm saying.
Sure.
But, of course, beforehand is best.
But most of us wait until there's enough pain. They hope that it's not causing a problem, and then suddenly there's $1 million missing. And
so people know about it, and they still don't call?
No, when they know about it, they call. But until they know about it, they tend not to.
Put their head in the sand, too.
It's
They
like
also don't want to believe it.
Most everyone says, I should exercise every day, but they don't. They just know that they should.
Right.
Yeah, they should call fraud examiners long time before the possible fraud happens, or has been going on very long, but they don't.
Well, you should. And his phone number is 480-577-6776. The website is azcost.net. He's also on LinkedIn. He does free consultations, and for the month of February, he's offering anyone who's got an issue with something like this, 25% off his regular services. We were going to jump to something that I want to see if that's okay with you, okay? Obviously, can you prevent it?
You can prevent it, or at least prevent most of it. One of the best ways is if you're a small business, is to have a fraud line that's totally anonymous and that's looked at regularly. 40% of all frauds that are discovered come from tips, 40%.
Wow.
Another large contributor to finding fraud are internal audits. And I've been an internal audit for a major corporation in the world for over 20 years, and we do it every 6 months. And we don't find much fraud every 6 months because we look at the cash flows.
You're on top of it.
In and out. But if you do it once a year, that may not be enough.
Well, you have one here. How does it occur in the first place?
Which?
The fraud.
There's a billion ways. However, every human has their own creative way to figure out there's a fraud. But almost all fraud is asset misappropriation. That's the large term. Mm-hmm. And it happens when, if I put a $100 bill on this table and came back tomorrow, it would probably be missing. So cash is one of those things that just sprouts wings and flies away.
Right. And
so you want to be careful about cash.
Sure. What else?
And for instance, if you have a small business, you want to separate all the tasks that involve cash. You want to have someone who opens the envelope not be the same person who takes cash to the bank. You want to have two people do that. There are lots of ways to have internal controls that are important to do. A man named Bernie Evers just died. He was the WorldCom man, multi-billion-dollar fraud a number of years ago. He served time in prison for his fraud. But there's so many ways to do fraud, almost like everyone has a unique fingerprint. We all have a different way that we're going to defraud something.
And they all think they can get away with it, and that's why they do it in the first place. And you know what? That's where you come in.
Yes.
You can help them to prevent it from happening.
Yes.
If it's happened, or you're thinking that it's happened already, but you're not sure, he can call you with that. You work with mostly small businesses, you said, but also family members that are dealing with trusts and things like that, where you think maybe the trustee didn't take care of things correctly. The phone number to call them direct, it's 480-577-6776. 6776. He's on LinkedIn. He does free consultations. His website is azcostnet. And for the month of February, he's offering everyone 25% off his services. Real quickly, what about a story that you might want to tell?
Let me tell about a story that fraud happened to me. When I was, one of the ways, the easiest ways is I look at my bank account every day.
Me
and
too.
I balance my bank statement every day. Just, it's a running balance. And I looked at my bank statement, and there was $300 missing. And I said, what happened? And next thing you know, I traced it, and it was a PayPal. And they had took $300 from me. And I found out, I called PayPal, that they denied it, and I kept getting passed up the chain until I finally talked to someone who found the $300, froze the account because it takes 24 to 48 hours for it to happen. Since I looked every day, it was soon enough. And they found $300. I talked to my bank, they would have put it back in, but long before the bank acted, the PayPal people acted, and I recovered the $300.
That's perfect. You know, I'm sorry that happened to you, but so many things like this happen to people, and usually it could be a smaller amount too. And you go, well, it was only $50 or whatever, and you put it to the side. You proved to everybody right now that by being proactive
Yes.
on a daily basis, that you were able to not only catch it, but also catch it soon, and you got the money back, and I love that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what would be your final words to everybody out there?
Fraud happens. There's a way to prevent it. There's a way to keep it as small as possible, but you want to get friendly with fraud examiners. I have certain expertise, and I know that there are things that I can't do, but I know a lot of fraud people, certified fraud examiners, because I'm the treasurer of the Arizona chapter of the ACFE, or Association for Certified Fraud Examiners. And I can get you in touch with the right person if your fraud need doesn't fall into my expertise world.
Well, I'll tell you something. Fraud does happen. It's unfortunate. But you know what? Get friendly with one. And I'm friends with you, and I'm so glad I am. Anyone, if you want to call them, it doesn't matter. If you're a small business, if you're a personal person that is just something is happening within your family, you've got some questions about it, he'll do a free consultation with you. Again, this is networking. It's what it's all about. I say networking, it makes a difference. You can tell anyone of any of the things that you're hearing here. It's all information for everybody. You can call in here for all those specials that we gave away today at 602-277-5369. Check him out on his website. It is azcost.net. He does free consultations. His phone number, 480-577-6776.
Across that line.